So the Leafs obviously start on Wednesday. There's a chance you got Game 4 of the Jays-Yankees and Leafs-Habs on Wednesday night. And they have released their roster for opening night. Easton Cowan is not on it. So I guess that means he won't play opening night? Or can they still send him down and then bring him up?
Yes.
Because of waivers and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think that's a paper transaction.
Yeah.
I really do. I think Wednesday he can be called up, that type of stuff. Because there was, Quillen, nice player and all that. I don't think he's the guy. Like, I think they had to, ice their team today by, 1 o'clock or whatever, and then submit it. But I was told in, a couple different cities, you'll see this guy on the roster, but really because of paper, this guy's going to come up and all of that. So I think Cowan's on the team. I think he's made the team.
But do you think he's going to play opening night, Jamie? Because it's a weird situation where you're like, everything's so positive and the coach is pumping your tires, and then you're there.
I think he's. I mean, again, I don't know the semantics of when they can call him up and that, but I believe he's made the team. They just had to paper it to send him down. But don't quote me on that because, again, there's CBA stuff involved.
Right. But let's assume that's the case. But if saying at practice today, he was the 13th forward. So even if he gets called up and he's on the team, is he going to play? They're not dressing.
He's got to make a big jump in the next 24 hours to get on that roster to play.
Yeah, which is a bit surprising that Nick Robertson, as of today at skate, Robertson is on a line. Like all of a sudden up the middle, you got Matthews, Tavares, Domi, Waugh.
By the way, Hayes, not long ago we were talking about what Max Domi had to do on right wing with Austin Matthews.
And exactly, opening night, he's not even going to play.
Yeah, now he's a third-line center.
Right.
Well, the injury to Lawton might have jammed some things up too, right? Keep that in mind. Like Lawton, is he going to go on LTIR? All of that. But if Lawton was available to you, maybe Domi still gets a look on that right side.
Well,
maybe
I think he would.
things,
but
right?
Again, it's more so I look at it like Cowan may not be playing because Robertson and Calle Yarncroke are playing, all of a sudden, where they haven't really been a part of the process throughout the last couple of weeks. And now all of a sudden they are there. Again, he's young. He's got a long career ahead of himself. It's not the Easton Cowan show. It's Leafs Habs Wednesday night.
Yep.
And even if he were to play, he's not going to play a ton of minutes. But it is somewhat intriguing that Berube's changed some things up. And you look at their preseason wasn't overly impressive. It was just matter of fact. They just kind of got through. Yeah. Nothing happened. Nothing really happened. And even, again, today, James Reimer has been released. That was the biggest story, that they signed Reimer to a PTO based on nostalgia and the fact that he had been a big part of their history. And he gets let go today for Cayden Primeau. So Primeau's here. Sammy Blais has been picked up. We'll see if he plays because he was there in 19. He was a big part of that Blues team in 19.
I used to like that guy. I'm not sure about 2025, but in 19. He was a physical guy. He could score the odd goal. He was just a good player where you looked at him, he was noticeable, and you're like, that guy's a contributor, a competitor, blah, blah, blah. What he brings to the table now remains to be seen, but obviously Chief had him. So
I watched him play the other night. He played for Montreal the other night. He's a physical guy, straight up and down. It sounds weird, but they've added another guy that is kind of in that same mold. The Dakota Joshua, Blais, big winger, can be physical. I don't know if he's overly skilled, but I think he's this guy's 6'2", 205, and he plays a physical game. I don't know if they just add him for depth and maybe they can get him to the minors or not. Who knows? But right now he has to be on the roster. They grabbed him. So they grab him off waivers. He has to stay up, right?
Yeah, and he may not play. He may be the 13th forward and not be the guy that ends up playing. And you can hold, you can carry, 23 total. I don't know if they'll do that, again, because of cap issues. But, yeah, I mean, now we're through. Outside of Lawton, which is a big hit, but outside of Lawton, and I guess Joseph Woll, which is not an injury. It's just Woll's not playing. Woll,
not here.
He's not here, and no one knows what's going to happen. The fact that they're picking up Primeau and they're trying out Reimer would suggest to me you kind of got a brace for this guy not being around the team for a while.
Yeah, it's a big story because this was one of the best tandems, if not the best tandem in the league last year, right, with both of those guys. and Joseph Wall not being available to him, yes, Anthony Stolart's still available and is going to be your number one. But, Stolarz hasn't been a one. He's been a good tandem guy. Now this is your net.
He kind of has to be now, Jamie, doesn't he? Like, how are they going to handle that rotation now for a guy that's basically – because everybody calls him and Wall, which they were, a tandem goaltending unit. So that's not going to be the situation. So is Stolarz just forced into be playing a lot more hockey, and it's like do it or don't, sink or swim?
Yeah, I think so, because Cayden Primeau is a guy that I think they played him too early in Montreal. He was a little bit overwhelmed, but he's like 26 years old now. He's not like this 19-year-old kid or 20-year-old kid they were trying to force feed in Montreal as the next Carey Price. I've liked him. Obviously, the bloodlines, the Primos and great people and all of that. Like, I've always been pulling for him, but he hasn't had a tremendous amount of success in Montreal. Now, keep in mind, he went through the rebuild, and he was a kid there. Right? So it's a different team you're going to play behind, but is he stepping right in and he's your backup? Like,
well, I don't know. Hildeby's looked pretty good. Hilderby, I think, has had a good camp, like, for the most part. And I guess it'll come down to numbers and who they feel that you can keep or what have you. And, in terms of the waiver wire, the Leafs would have been pretty far down the list. So there were teams in the league that chose not to claim Primeau, but the Leafs got him in. The same thing for Sammy Blais. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, in terms of the size of this team. We talked a lot about it last week. Like, they're not a fast team. They're an older, slower team, and they have some bite, but not a ton of bite.